Hi and welcome. In this video, we are going over some universal affirmations. And I am going to kind of just give the background on this, where some of these are coming from. So there is the why don't religions end suffering and what each religion is trying to resolve. There's different types of suffering, and each one is trying to solve something. So the universal affirmations are going to address each one of these, and then there's some additional ones too. So how do we reduce suffering and live well? So Buddhism is they address suffering from attachment and ignorance, and that we cling to pleasure, identity, outcomes, permanence in an impermanent world. And so they address emotional suffering, anxiety, fear of change, and dissatisfaction. And their solution is awakening, which is enlightenment through insight, ethical living, and mental discipline. And then when attachment dissolves, suffering dissolves. Buddhism does not promise heaven, it promises freedom from mental bondage. Christianity addresses suffering from sin, guilt, and separation. Their core suffering, guilt, moral failure, separation from God, and fear of judgment. Christianity centers on a deep sense of moral suffering. Humans feel they fall short of divine standards of love, of goodness. This creates guilt, shame, and fear, punishment, or abandonment. And at its core, Christianity addresses, am I worthy? Am I forgiven? Am I loved despite my flaws? And what Christianity resolves is guilt and shame, moral anxiety, fear of death and judgment, and meaning and suffering. And their solution is redemption through grace. Suffering is not erased, but redeemed. Pain becomes meaningful through sacrifice, love, and resurrection. Christianity reframes suffering as something that can be transformed, not merely escaped. Judaism, suffering from chaos, injustice, and exile. Their core suffering is disorder, injustice, loss of identity, and historical trauma that is deeply rooted in lived history and exile, persecution, survival, and covenant. Rather than focusing on escaping the world, they focus on repairing it. So they repeatedly address social injustice, oppression, moral responsibility, and collective suffering. And they resolve loss of community and identity, moral confusion, injustice, and oppression, disconnection from purpose. And the solution is faithful action, ethical living, remembrance, and communal responsibility. The goal is not individual salvation, but repairing the world. So they treat suffering as a call to responsibility, not withdrawal. Islam, suffering from disorder, fear, lack of surrender, core suffering, inner turmoil caused by resistance to divine order and uncertainty. Islam views suffering as emerging when humans are out of alignment with the natural order. Anxiety, fear, and moral chaos arise when humans place ego, fear, and materialism above divine guidance. They resolve anxiety, moral confusion, fear of uncertainty, and lack of discipline and purpose. The solution is submission, not as a weakness, but as trust. Through prayer, discipline, charity, and community, order is restored. Islam teaches that peace comes from alignment, not control. Hinduism, suffering from ignorance of the true self. Core suffering, mistaken identity, and bondage to illusion. Hinduism sees suffering as the result of forgetting who we truly are. Humans identify with the body, status, wealth, and roles rather than eternal self. This misidentification traps individuals in karma, rebirth, desire, and fear. Hinduism resolves like a confusion, fear of death, repetitive life dissatisfaction, identity based suffering. And their solution is self realization, awakening to one's divine nature through knowledge, devotion, action, or meditation. Hinduism says suffering ends when illusion ends. Taoism, suffering from resistance and over control. Suffering is self created. Humans try to force, dominate, and resist life instead of flowing with it. Suffering comes from excess effort, rigid thinking, over interference, ego driven control, and it resolves stress, burnout, frustration, disconnection from nature. And their solution is effortless action, living simply, naturally, and in harmony with the way. They teach that peace comes from less, not more. Confucianism, suffering from social breakdown, social instability, moral decay, breakdown of trust, generational conflict. They treat suffering as a social problem, not just as a personal one. And then there's different other spiritualities that are separation from nature, ancestors, communities. They resolve alienation, environmental destruction, loss of belonging, spiritual emptiness through ritual storytelling, telling, reverence for nature, and honoring the ancestors. Healing occurs when humans remember they belong to the earth and to each other. And then there's modern secular spirituality and psychology, suffering from meaninglessness. And so a lot of the meaning, purpose, identity in a rapidly changing world, in increasingly secular societies, traditional religious frameworks fade, suffering remains. Modern psychology and self-development movements attempt to fill the gap. The modern approaches resolve depression, identity confusion, anxiety, and trauma, self awareness, emotional healing, purpose building, and belief transformation. Even without religions, humans still seek salvation from emptiness. So, the shared insight across all religions, despite their differences, they agree on several truths. Suffering is universal. Much suffering is internal, not external. Beliefs shape experience. Transformation is possible, and meaning reduces pain. Each religion highlights a different dimension: mental attachment, guilt and worthiness, injustice and responsibility, disorder and fear, illusion and identity, resistance, disconnection, and no single system addresses all suffering. Together, they form a map of the human condition. So the final reflection, it's not merely about God's rules, rituals. It's an attempt to answer how do we suffer less and live more fully, and how to each tradition is trying to heal, allows us to extract wisdom without dogma and compassion without division. So every religion is responding to pain, and every human shares it. So the core beliefs that are needed to reduce the suffering is mind nervous system matters. Why religion misses this is ancient religions didn't know neuroscience. So what goes wrong with that? People try to believe harder while chronically dysregulated, and trauma gets spiritualized as sin, lack of faith, bad karma, and this belief fixes anxiety, shame, and chronic fear. You cannot think, pray, submit, awaken, or love clearly from a dysregulated body. So this belief alone would reduce enormous suffering across all religion, and that is my nervous system matters. Pain is information, not a moral failure. And why religions miss this? Religions moralize pain, sin, karma, testing, punishment. What goes wrong? People suppress pain. Abuse gets justified. Healing is delayed. This belief allows boundaries, healing, compassion without blame. Uh, Intent does not equal impact. And why religions miss this is religious focus heavily on intention. What goes wrong? Harm is excused if the intent was pure. Institutions protect themselves. This belief introduces accountability, repair, and growth. You can mean well and still cause suffering, and that's fixable. Four, I can be responsible without being ashamed. Why religion misses this? Many systems use guilt to enforce behavior, and what goes wrong? Shame freezes growth. People hide instead of repair. And this belief unlocks honest self examination, faster learning, true repentance, repair, not self hatred. Boundaries are not a lack of love. Why religions miss this? Many traditions praise self sacrifice without limit. What goes wrong is enabling burnout, abuse masks holiness, and this belief allows compassion and self respect, sustainable generosity. Six, not everything meaningful is permanent. Why religion misses this? Most religions promise permanence, eternal life, final justice, ultimate states. What goes wrong? Clinging, fear of loss, delayed living, and this belief reduces grief, suffering, and panic. Ironically, Buddhism gets closest but still ritualizes it. And beliefs are tools, not truths to defend. Why religion misses this? Religions must preserve coherence and identity. What goes wrong? Dogmatism, violence, in group superiority. This belief creates humility, adaptability, peace across differences. Suffering decreases faster through skill than belief. Why religions miss this? Religion emphasizes faith, obedience, surrender, and people wait instead of learn. And practical skills are underdeveloped. These are skills like emotional regulation, communication, financial literacy, and conflict repair. Reduce suffering immediately, regardless of belief. No system will save me from being human. Why religion misses this? Religious promises, they promise salvation, enlightenment, liberation. What goes wrong? Spiritual bypassing, disappointment, delusionment, disbelief brings acceptance, resilience, humor. Humanity isn't a bug, it's the terrain. And 10, meaning is something I practice, not something I wait for. And why religions miss this? Meaning is often postponed. Heaven, liberation, the world to come. This belief anchors the meaning now in action. And so if you reduce it to the essentials, um, five non-religious beliefs to dramatically reduce suffering everywhere. My body and nervous system matter. Pain is information, not failure. Responsibility doesn't require shame. Boundaries protect love, and skills reduce suffering faster than beliefs. And you can add none of these to help to reduce suffering. So the quiet truth, religions were never meant to do everything. They gave meaning, they gave moral structure, they gave hope. They weren't designed to heal trauma, teach nervous system regulation, and handle modern complexity. And it's not a failure, it's just a category mismatch. So these are some universal affirmations. I am safe in reality as it is. Safety is the foundation of order, submission, and surrender. So these were what it heals. ancient Egypt was fear of chaos, anxiety about God's punishment in the Old Testament in Islam, and dread in Buddhism. Two, I'm responsible for my inner state and my outer actions. This heals entitlement, victim mentality, moral decay, Judaism and Confucianism, and misuse of grace, Christianity. It replaces God will fix it, karma will handle it. It's society's fault with adult agency. My thoughts shape my experience and I can renew them. This heals sin consciousness, Christianity, ignorance in Hinduism, and suffering from attachment in Buddhism. The renewing of the mind, awakening and right view, the same insight, different language. I act in alignment with truth, even when it's uncomfortable. What it heals, lawlessness, hypocrisy, and corruption. Also, from Egypt, Torah, ethics, Islamic submission, Dharma, Eightfold Path, the truth before comfort fixes societies. Five, I release what I cannot control and focus on what I can. What this heals, over control, Egyptian magic, anxiety driven religion, ego attachment, spiritual bypassing. It's surrender without passivity. I am connected to others. My success includes their well being. This heals exploitation, inequality, tribalism, satisfies Christian love, Islam, Jewish justice, Confucian harmony, Buddhist compassion. Prosperity without compassion always collapses. I use resources wisely and ethically. What this heals, guilt around money, poverty, theology, greed, and reframes wealth as a tool, not an idol, trust, not entitlement, energy, not morality. Every tradition agrees here, even when they argue about money. I'm not my ego. I can observe it without obeying it. What this heals, pride, shame, identity, rigidity. This is Buddhism, anatta, Christianity's die to self, Hindu transcendence, Taoist flow. You don't destroy the ego, you outgrow it. I choose compassion without abandoning boundaries. This heals enabling abuse justified as love, authoritarian morality. This is mature love, not martyrdom, not dominance. I choose compassion without abandoning boundaries. And my life has meaning, and I express it through right action today. And let's see, purpose is lived, not postponed. So the one line master said, uh, this is for the religions. If you wanted just a few that cover everything, I am safe, grounded, and present. I take responsibility for my thoughts, actions, and impact. I align with truth, compassion, and wisdom. I release ego driven fear and act with clarity. I use my life and resources to create good. And so that is covering the different basics from the different religions. And so religions encode these affirmations indirectly because ancient cultures use stories instead of psychology, laws instead of neuroscience, and rituals instead of habit science. So another way to do this is with affirmations. And so, and then these are the other ones that you'll want to add in. That nervous system matters. Pain is information, not a moral failure. Intent is not impact. I can be responsible without being ashamed. Boundaries are not a lack of love. Not everything meaningful is permanent. Beliefs are tools, not truths to defend. Suffering decreases faster through skill than belief. no system will save me from being human, and meaning is something I practice, not something I wait for. And so my body and nervous system matter. Pain is information, not failure. Responsibility doesn't require shame. Boundaries protect love. Skills reduce suffering faster than beliefs. So the ones from all the different religions, you don't need to learn all the different religions. You can practice some of the affirmations to cover the suffering that they're trying to heal. And then the additional ones that are not covered in any of the religions, and then to help greatly reduce the suffering. So, which is kind of a relief that you can stay in your religion and then also benefit from the what the other religions are trying to heal also, so that they're all trying to heal something, so you can benefit from all of it while still remaining in yours, or not. You could practice all these without being in religion, and that's your choice. And that is it for this video. I'll see you in the next.